Carowinds is a breathtaking theme park in Charlotte, USA, home of some of America's best rides and attractions, but what are the top 10 rides over at Carowinds? Coming in at number 10, we have Electro-Spin, a Mondial top scan which is very similar to such rides as Samurai at Thorpe Park Resort. Now this ride is just pure intense, and if you have ever done one of these types of rides, you will know how forceful and fun they really are. If you don't know what these type of rides are, then let me explain it to you. So the gondolas are all spread around in different places along a circular-ish shape, and an individual gondola you can fit in around 5 people. Once everyone is strapped in, the ride begins, and this is when the gondolas start to rise. Then the arm attached to it begins to take you around, sometimes going up slightly and sometimes going down slightly. Here's where this things get intense though, because while all of it is happening, your gondola is also spinning around in a very, very, very intense way. I really do love these types of rides, and if you love a good thrill, then look no further, because Electro-Spin is definitely the ride for you. In at number 9, we have Vortex, a B&M stand-up coaster that originally opened in 1992. Now this ride features a loop and a corkscrew, which is my favourite element because the hang time you get really is something else. This ride stands at a whopping 90 feet tall, which despite it not being as tall as some other thrill coasters, don't let this put you off, because the stand-up coasters are some of the most unique and different rides out there. One thing I really love about this ride though is that it is so smooth, but that comes as no surprise because B&Ms are known for their smoothness. So if you get a chance to do an amazing B&M like this, then take it. Overall, Vortex is a pretty good ride, and if you go to Carowinds, maybe I would recommend starting on something small and making your way up for a ride like this, as it is a perfect one to do. At number 8, we have Hurler, an International Coasters Incorporated wooden roller coaster. Now true to this name, this ride can really hurl you around, as with most wooden coasters, despite them being amazing, they aren't the smoothest of rides, but personally that doesn't change much for me because I love woodies, and especially on this ride there are so many airtime hills that if you are a thrill junkie just like myself, then this is one of the best things to do. One thing as well that I think is really great is that when you get onto the top of the lift hill, you get one of the best views of Fury 325. But after that lift hill, oh my god, are you in for a good time. You go around so many sharp turns, airtime moments, as well as just having a fantastic ride, which blew me away. So what are you waiting for? Get on this before Fury, as it is a great warm up. Have you ever wanted to know where to get the best view of Carowinds? Well, if so, look no further, because our number 7 spot, WindSeeker, is the ride for you. This ride is one of the worst rides to go on if you are afraid of height, because standing at 305 feet tall, this ride is the second tallest on park, with of course Fury 325 being the highest. So when you're up the top of here, you really can get a great view of not only the park but the surrounding area of Charlotte. Now, as much as I would love to say that this ride is perfect for families, oh no I wouldn't. To be honest, I wouldn't blame anyone if they are too scared to do this, because you may think that it's tall, but trust me, when you go up there it feels like you are staring at a skyscraper, but the views from the top make it such worth the challenge. Coming in at number 6, we have a very creatively named drop tower called Drop Tower. Now, I do joke, but this ride is taller than any of the rides in the UK by quite a far bit, so this is a serious thrill ride. Obviously, due to the height, this is a one drop wonder, but let me tell you that after that one drop, you'll be thinking, right, that's enough, because that drop is something special, as you really get launched off your seat, and if your restraint isn't that tight, you could go flying. One thing I would improve, however, is the name of the ride, because let's be honest, here isn't very creative, and hopefully in the future Carowinds could change the name, but it being called Drop Tower is sort of straight to the point anyway, and you know what you're getting in for. In at number 5 we have Nighthawk, a Vekoma Flying Dutchman. Now this ride is definitely something unique. First of all, you get into your vehicle in a normal upright position, but once your restraints have been checked, seats begin to lean back until you're laying on your back. From there you make your way up into a lift hill backwards. When you get to the top, your vehicle moves back around, but this time you are flying. Now for the rest of the ride you go around, sometimes being in the flying position or the laying position. Honestly, it's amazing. My favourite feature of this ride is definitely the double corkscrew, as it packs the most force and hang time you will get. One thing I do have to point out, however, is that this ride isn't necessarily the smoothest that I've been on, but that doesn't mean it's not enjoyable, as it is extremely fun, and of course it's a threat. Are you intimidated right now? Well, you should be, because at number 4 we have Intimidator, a B&M hypercoaster. Now this ride has some of the best airtime hills on the park, with each of them making you literally fly off your seat. What I love is that how from the top of a lift hill you go down into the smoothest drop, only then to go into an airtime moment and around another airtime hill. Then for the rest of the ride you're just going up and down more airtime hills. How awesome is that? Most B&M hypercoasters do have some sort of airtime hills, but I think the ones on Intimidator are quite special, because especially if you sit in the back row, not only do you get dragged over, but also you get some of the best airtime that this ride has to offer. I also really like how this ride uses a lap bar restraint, as it is extremely safe and are much more comfortable than the ones that go over your shoulders, especially for all those airtime moments. Honestly, I could not recommend this ride anymore, so get yourself down to Carowinds today and ride this B&M beauty. Top 3, whoop whoop, and at number 3 we have Afterburn, another B&M coaster, but this time it's an invert. Now this ride reminds me of the classic Nemesis at Alton Towers Resort, as some of the elements are very similar. The colour is the same, so looking at Afterburn, it is looking like a much bigger version of this ride. This ride has 6 different inversions, such as a loop, a 0G roll, a bat wing and a corkscrew, so it's got a good variety of intense moments. What I love about this ride as well is that it is another one of the B&M inverts that definitely makes a roar as it goes around the track. It makes it seem like this ride is a beast, and it really is. If you want to get some amazing views of this ride, then I'd highly recommend sitting on the front row, as you can see the track and the park. But if you want to get a more intense experience, I highly recommend you sit either on the back of the car, because you really get pulled around and flung over your seat. So when you next come to Carowinds, this ride is a must do. Coming in at number 2 we have Copperhead Strike, a Mack Rides launch coaster. Now doesn't this ride just look amazing? When the ride starts off, you go straight into a JoJo roll, around into this nice barn where a little pre-show starts for a few seconds before being launched off. That sends you straight into a loop and around into a corkscrew. I absolutely love the layout of this ride, as it has a perfect mix of inversions, airtime moments as well as car parts. This is one of those rides that you should be very lucky to have ridden, and for this ride I'd recommend you sit in the back rows, as some of the inversions can be really intense with that whip. Also, this ride is known for being smooth, so you won't even need to worry about your head banging around all the time. So it is perfect for coaster enthusiasts just like myself, and this coaster has definitely been on my bucket list for the longest time and should be in your one as well. We have finally made it to the number 1 spot, and for this spot we have got the legendary Fury 325, a B&M gear coaster like no other. Now this ride just looks beautiful and is amazing to ride. Firstly, I love the colour scheme to this ride. The blue as well as green tracks just work so well. Secondly, the view you can get from the top of this attraction is just amazing, and you don't realise how high up you are until you go over the top, then get plunged down into the first drop, which is super forceful by the way. Then you go around into some bends. Then another feature that really catches my eye is that airtime hill. The airtime hill is supposed to be one of the best airtime hills in the world, and I can 100% see why, because you really get launched off your seat and the airtime feeling in your stomach that we all love. If this ride isn't in your top 10 coaster list, then I would be very surprised, as most people love Fury 325, with it being the coaster that stands out as Carowinds' special ride. It's so tall, you can see it from far away, and it's what draws most people towards the park. So if you're at Carowinds, then I can already imagine that this ride without a doubt will be a must too.